Hello and welcome to another edition of 2 Minute Warning. My name is Mike Steiner, the Tire Whisperer, and today we're in it for the long haul. We're going to talk about the long haul segment and introduce you to some of the anomalies that can happen on long haul tires that you might not see in other segments. So get ready, your 2 Minute Warning starts right now. Okay, so before I talk about the three conditions that we see in the long haul segment, we have to understand what the long haul segment is. And so when you look at a tire, the best way is to understand the wear rate. And what we find in long haul segment is that it falls in the 12,000 miles per 30 second and higher. Okay, now that sounds like a great thing. Very slow wear rate, our tire is going to last a long time. But actually a slow wear rate will equate to irregular wear, and we see a lot more irregular wear on long haul tires. So the first condition we see in the long haul segment is river wear. Now let me get to the bad news first, is that river wear cannot be avoided. Okay, all we can do is put a lot of technology into the tire and push it out so it occurs at a much later time in life, and the customer will be happy with the wear he gets on the steer tire. But now you have to understand why river wear forms, and actually the explanation is quite simple. If you think of each one of these ribs as a block of rubber, and we compress that block of rubber over and over again, millions of times as it goes through the contact patch, you'll notice that the edges of that rubber are going to move in and out. That constant moving in and out has an eraser type action, and the edges of the ribs will get a depression wear like you see in the photos. So the thing to remember about river wear is it's going to start off very subtle, and usually it'll show up as a little deformation around those little sipes that you see in the tire. But understand that it will get worse over time, it will grow, it will get wider, and eventually can cause a depression in the rib. Okay, so as we just learned, that we can get river wear on long haul tires because of the slow wear rate. So we have to apply some technology in the design of the tire to fight that river wear. And so the way we do that is with sipes. Now sipes are these little small cuts that you see in the tire, and there's thousands of them in the tread, and these can help prevent the irregular wear. However, it does make it a little fragile if you use the tire in a more regional application, or you do a lot of dry turning where the truck's not rolling. This is what the sipe tearing looks like, and I want to cover two things that you can do to help minimize this condition on your steer tires. And the first one's simple. It's to maintain the proper air pressure, which is going to maintain the proper footprint. And that way we will spread the load equally on these 5 ribs. Sometimes when you get overinflated, you put too much load in the middle of this tire, and that will put a lot of stress on these sipes, causing them to tear. Okay, and the second one has to do with driver training, and that is when they maneuver, it's always best to be rolling when you turn. If the driver just sits there and constantly dry turns to the steer tire, it can cause these things to tear, and you'll get excessive sipe tearing in your tire. So the last condition I want to talk about is the damage that we sometimes see to the sacrificial rib or decoupling groove. Now we call it the sacrificial rib because it's put there to help get the irregular wear so that we don't get the irregular wear on the ribs. Now occasionally if drivers dry turn the truck again, or sometimes get up on a curb and then fall back down, we can see tearing in this decoupling groove. So one other cause that I want to talk about, we sometimes see this when people try to run a long haul tire in a regional segment, and there's just way too much twisting and turning, and it can cause some aggression on this decoupling groove, causing it to rip. So although this might look a little unsightly, as long as the split is not running down the side of the tire, you should be able to continue running. So just remember, if you're seeing wear rates of 12,000 miles a 30-second and higher, you're definitely in it for the long haul. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on the 2 Minute Warning.